In the second module, we are going to learn how to detect crop fields and capture currently growing crops, usually by them being green. For this, first we are going to be using simple deterministic algorithms, and then we are going to build our first actual real-life neural network and see how much better this so-called UNet model performs. In this module, we will build a complete crop mapping pipeline that detects crop fields in satellite images and then marks their boundaries with simple polygon geometries. On the way, we are going to explore some very simple traditional methods, computer vision, and finally, even deep learning. So by the end of this module, you will understand the progression from rule-based methods to learned representation and see firsthand why deep learning is a really powerful tool in GeoAI. But first things first, let's import the stuff we are going to use in this module. So we are going to have a lot here, so let's review these libraries very quickly. We are going to have the usual geospatial stack, all parts of raster.io and Shapely, and GeoPandas to deal with vector and raster data. We will also have some basic things like NumPy and JSON, maybe we can add pandas here, and then libraries to visualize data, Matplotlib and Folium, and then specific image processing tools for raster data, the Python image library, and scikit image, and even SciPy, and then a few things for deep learning within PyTorch. Here again, just as we did in the first module, we can check the device we want to use. Here I will quietly move to CPU from the Apple GPU, but it doesn't really mean that you need to follow this. You're free to use whatever device your machine actually has. Then let's define the agricultural area, so the target area of this crop detection algorithm. I have chosen a small agricultural area in Hungary with diverse crop fields, which is perfect for testing our crop mapping methods. We are going to use a bounding box defined by the lat and long coordinates, and then use Folium to visualize it in an interactive way. So in Folium we will need the center coordinates, then we will define the actual map object where we are going to use Esri word imagery base map tiles. So we will have a nice satellite image in the background as well. And then we will create a bounding box which shows the bounding box we defined here just as a polygon on the Folio map. So after creating the box coordinates, we will just add the new polygon layer and finally visualize the map. And here we are. This is how the target area looks like. As you can see here, I'm not sure when the base map image was taken, probably sometimes early summer, because here we have green croplands, but we also have these yellowish tones, which implies that those fields are closer to the harvest time. But anyways, this is the target area, and now we can move on to collect some actual satellite data we are able to process and not just visualize through the API here. To wrap Module 2 up, I wanted to show you how we can quickly compare the results of the 3 different methods that we learned about in this module to capture green croplands versus the rest of the satellite images. So for this, I'm going to build a Folium-based map, just as how we started this module, using the satellite image base map tiles, and then adding a couple of layers here. So we will need a function which will actually add extra layers, no need to dive into the details for now. And we can add our original map as a base map. So now it is here. The reason I wanted to add this because what we have here in the default base map around here is not necessarily coming from the same time period, so July 2025. So I wanted to make sure that the base map where we are going to show the results is also in line with the whole process of the analytics. Then let's add the threshold layer. And then I'm going to add the layer controls afterwards. Then comes the slick layer and then the unit layer. Then we can add, yep, it's here. We can add the layer control, because here with the show parameter we can set which of these should be shown by default. If I switch this to false, then nothing is shown here. While if I set slick to true, then we have the green croplands from slick marked by green. However, I want to have this layer control, so I can manually change these things, just like that. And we can also add some very handy comparison legends, which would be quite a pain to write manually, especially that it's mostly, as far as I remember, JavaScript code. But you can get these things done, such a small piece of extra information in, for example, Claude very quickly. Now I was developing this on the other screen I'm using, that's why this is a bit off in terms of size. But if we want to get rid of this, to have a cleaner view, then just comment it out. Or, yeah, better delete it because there are some other characters here. So, yeah, this is it. This is the comparison. Can just wrap this module up. So congratulations, you have completed module 2 and built 3 full green crop mapping pipelines on real satellite image data. So here we downloaded Sentinel data, implemented a simple thresholding model, then learned about the superpixel segmentation, and finally trained our first real-world UNet in PyTorch. I think it's important to note that these approaches are not competitors, but they are rather complementing each other. So even here, when generating synthetic labels for the UNet, we were able to combine these two methods. And also the results, as you see, show some overlap. So in real-life methods and problem-solving scenarios, it's very likely that you would end up combining some of these methods in one way or another, also with expert-based external knowledge. So that was it for Module 2, and now let's move on to Module 3 and see how we can compare the two different snapshots of Sentinel image we downloaded at the beginning of this notebook.